Hi, Lynn Loudermilk here, the Practicing Crafter. Today we are working on a project using the new FolkArt Perle line. So what I'm wanting to do, I have got a Nightlight blank that we are going to create. I knew I wanted to do a fish, so I went on to Canva and found one that I liked and just printed it to the size that I needed. All I've done is just tape that off to my blank just so that I have a nice template to work off of as I get started. I'm going to go ahead and outline this in black, and I am using acrylic paint, but you could use an acrylic marker or something like that if you have that handy. Okay, so this should not take much dry time, but I do want to make sure that it is cured before I start my next process so that the black doesn't blend in with my other colors. And I'm going to walk away, leave this alone for a few minutes, then we're going to get started with adding some color to this little guy. I am going to be using a lot of different colors on this fish. Even as small as he is, there is a lot going on here. So if you want to see what colors I used, just check the description, and any promotional codes will be listed there. So be sure and check that. I am a firm believer in always having your canvas the way that is most comfortable for you to work. So we are just going to turn this little guy upside down, and I'm going to start on this bottom section. So let's just do that real quick. We are just going to build on these a little bit. So I'm going to bring that lightest color up just a bit. Add one more coat of this. It is so translucent. I think it is just going to be absolutely beautiful as a nightlight. So let's start building out these colors a little more. For the fins and the tail, I am just going to mix a little bit of this pure black in with one of these colors. Maybe a little of the blue also. Let's just see if we add a little bit of blue in here maybe. Do some color mixing, see what we can come up with. I went ahead and made a copy of the fish on another sheet of paper also, so that I could refer to that as I continue to paint this. So that's another little trick that you can do if you're doing something like this. Make a copy so that you can kind of reference as you're going along. All right, so I'm going to start adding a little bit of yellow. Okay, so let's just add some of this pink in. What are we looking for next? Our green. We have a lot of green, so let's just go ahead and move to that. So this green is all along the tail through here. Kind of mixing it in with some of that, bringing it down into the yellow. Just a little bit. Not as much where these yellow stripes are. Mix a little of our blue with that black that we had worked on earlier. I'm going to remove this at this point and just continue to work off the image now that I've got, I think I've got most of the fish in place, but let's take a look at what we're working with and see how this is coming together. I've got a good base layer, and now I just want to go in and just see if we can create a little more depth, a little more interest. So to do that, I am actually going to use my dotting tool, and we are just going to start adding these colors in. I may change out, but I'm going to start with this tiny one, and we will see how that goes. I'm just going to start adding these dots. See if this works out for us. It may not work out. If it doesn't, we will just wash everything off and we will start over again. Whenever you're doing different crafts and things, it's just to figure out your process. If one thing doesn't work, you just think about it and you go back and figure out what's not working and what is, and you just start over. I do need to work on this other fin a little bit. Let's see what we're going to do with that guy. Let's see. I need to figure this out real quick and kind of how I'm going to make him work. Let's just take a little of this lighter color right here. Just real quick, I'm going to take some of this black we mixed earlier. If we can just, don't know. All right, so let's keep going with our dots real quick. And we kind of have a base in there for that one. And we are going to add these in here. Let me get the yellow. And let me get this one also. Now, you could totally use this same process for just anything, any kind of shape that you wanted to do. Just put your background down and then just start filling in with dots. I do think it's a neat way to create a fun look for something like this. I really think that this is going to come together so cute once all is said and done. Let's move on to our blues, our light blue first. All right, so I'm just going to continue to do this. And we are going to get to a spot where we are extremely happy with the outcome. And then we will shine a light on this little guy and see what he's looking like.
Okay. This is actually my third attempt at adding a background for this little guy. I love the way that he's turned out so far. And he has been drying overnight. So we are going back in for a third attempt at putting in a background. The two backgrounds I've done before have been working with just a brush. I was trying to do an ombre effect, actually, and it just was not working out well for me. So now I am going to try a little something different. And we are going to see if we can just make this work out for us. And I'm going to use this, I think it's like a baking tool, but we're going to use that. And that is not working out very well, is it? Let's try the other side. It is just way too wide. How about if we just do this? My paint is starting to dry, so we're just going to leave it right there and let's take a look what we've got so far.
So this is nice and dry. I let it actually sit for a couple of hours. Now we are just going to add a little more depth, and I'm going to start with this yellow, maybe the happy color. And let's see how this is going to look. I'm not 100% sure, but we are just going to start at the top and kind of see how that looks coming through. That I like that. Okay, so we're just going to go with this yellow. So the light should really still come through. Very nice from the Nightlight element. It took us a couple of times to get here, but I am happy with where all of this came out. All right, let's just lay this here, let it dry.
All right, so if you stuck around to the end, thank you so much. And if you did, I'm hoping that that means that you enjoyed it, and I would love for you to give me a thumbs up. I would love to hear what kind of projects come to your mind for this beautiful paint. If you would leave that in the comments, that would be so great. So you know what? Get out there today, get creative, try something new, enjoy the process. Until next time, bye.